All right, what's up, guys? All right, so I have another episode for you guys, and this time I have one of the athletes that I've watched for a very long time, since he was, I think, a junior in college. Watched him play, got to enjoy him playing, at Columbus State, and then now getting to get to see his grind on social media as he's playing pro ball now. So I want to allow you guys to get to
Definitely.
know Zae Horton. He is an outstanding athlete, great ball player. So I definitely want you to dive into his story and find out a little more about him. You ready, Zay? All
Let's
right,
do
man.
it.
All right, so let's start at the beginning,
Cool.
man. Let's start. What age did you start playing ball, and kind of how did that process go for you beginning?
I started playing organized basketball when I was 5. But my family, everybody plays sports, so everybody played basketball. My mom, she played college basketball. My dad played college basketball, so I kind of like grew up
Yeah,
playing, if that makes sense. So, as a kid, like I always like had a love for basketball more than any other sport. Even though I played like baseball and like football, basketball
yeah.
just stuck out. Yeah,
So you played little league, I'm assuming, when you were around 5 or 6.
course,
So when you got to middle
of
school,
course.
did you start taking it more serious as far? Cause I know with your family already being, college athletes and stuff like that. Were you always kind of
Mhm.
groomed to take it more seriously than everybody else, or did you reach an age where you kind of started getting a little more serious about it?
Um, I started getting a little bit more serious about it my eighth
Okay.
grade year because I moved school, so I ended up moving uh to Decatur. I'm from there, but I went to school like out the
Okay.
country. But then I actually moved to the city of Decatur and went there, and I kind of seen like how advanced everybody was like
Yeah.
ahead of me. So it's just like a situation where it's like I got to catch up. If I don't catch up, I'm gonna
Yeah.
get left. So I would say eighth grade, I started taking it a lot more serious.
When did you hit your big growth spurt?
I didn't hit my growth spurt until my junior year of high
Okay.
school. That's I went from my 10th grade year, I was probably like 5'10" ish. And then my that summer, 10th grade going to my junior year, I hit like
Okay.
6'2", somewhere in there. So yeah, that was around the time that I kind of hit a
Okay. And
growth
you're what?
spurt.
You're 6'4" now, right? When did you hit that
Right,
second
right.
growth spurt?
Right after I
Okay.
graduated. So my senior year, that summer going into my first year of college, that's when I hit another growth
Gotcha.
spurt.
Gotcha. And your first two
Yeah.
years, or was it one year you went to Wallace?
I went to 2 years. I was there
Okay.
2 years.
How was that experience for
Two
you going
years, yeah.
JUCO first?
I think JUCO is like it kind of like shows you how much you like
Yeah.
basketball in a way, depending on the junior college that you go to. Because like a lot of the junior colleges don't have as much money, so it's really like an extended
Right.
high school. So I the JUCO I went to was kind of like on the rougher side, but it helped groom me for later on down the line in my
Right.
basketball
Because
career.
what you're doing now, we'll get into that a little bit later, but what you're doing now is a
Mhm.
continual grind. And I think a lot of guys don't
Most
realize
definitely,
that, once you make it
most
to the
definitely.
pros, it's not, oh, I made it. Now it's time to kind of relax. That's when it really kicks
Yeah,
off.
most
So
definitely, most
you
definitely.
go 2 years at Wallace. Kind of walk me through that experience as
Mhm.
far as like the playing experience, game time experience. Where did you see the most growth in your game by being there?
Um, I would say the most growth that I had was my
Okay.
confidence. Confidence played a big key just because of junior college is very like athletic. So like everybody's kind of the same
Right.
to a point, if it makes sense. Like everybody kind of game is kind of similar. So when I started to like stand out a little more from other people, then I my confidence just shot through the
Right.
roof then. So I would say my confidence was probably the biggest thing I gained from going to junior college for sure.
Right. And when you left there, of course, you ended up at Columbus State. That's where I met you.
Yeah,
Um, and I seen what your
yeah.
game is. So to know
Yeah.
you ever lack confidence is surprising to me because I saw what your game looked like. Once we met
Yeah.
you, and I brought the kids, to see
Exactly.
y'all play, and a lot of them studied you. Some studied BG. I think was y'all's point guard, but
Right.
a lot of them studied you. And one
Right.
thing I used you guys as a reference point to say just how hard you guys play without the ball in your hand, defensively.
Most
Getting
definitely.
rebounds, getting on the floor, clapping it up, getting mad when, you're not in the element. You know what I'm saying? Not always having the best
Right.
game, but being in the game. And I saw that within you
Most definitely.
guys. So kind of walk me through that experience, getting from a JUCO, like you said, that didn't have a lot of the resources, and then you get over to Columbus State, that is a Division II school, and usually the top of their conference. Kind of walk me through how that experience was.
Man, I was so excited to get there just because of like the situation of being able to get in the gym whenever I
Yeah.
want. Like at that point, it was just like if I don't make it, it's
Right.
cause of
Right.
me. Like it's
Yeah.
something I did. So I was ready. I was ecstatic. I couldn't wait to get on campus. Then on top of that, I kind of like going into new situations because don't nobody kind of know you, so nobody
Yeah.
knows your game. So you get a chance to like see where you stand against people that
Right.
don't know you. So I it was
Yeah.
fun. I enjoyed it for
Yeah.
sure.
It was fun to watch y'all for sure. So when I know you were all Peach Conference, all Peach Belt Conference,
Mhm.
there, correct? Both
Right,
years. You were
right,
there for your junior and senior year. So did you get that honor
right.
both years?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did.
So when you
Yeah.
when you got when you graduated from Columbus State, what was that process like now, finishing college ball and knowing that you wanted to play, you want to continue your career? What was that process like, that
Mhm.
first summer that you're done with college and now you got to figure out that next step?
Man, that was probably the most stressed summer I
Yeah.
had because this when I left Columbus State, this was during the
Mhm.
period of COVID, so everything was
Yeah.
shut down. So I was stressing, like I didn't want to have a year
Yeah.
off because a year's a long time not playing. So like I was in the best shape of my life right then, like coming out of
Yeah.
Columbus State, like I was eager, and then like that summer it was just like everything got
Yeah.
put on hold. So like I was stressed, but I think that was one of the summers I worked probably the hardest, if not
Yeah.
the hardest, just because like you just staying ready so you don't have
Yeah.
to get ready, just waiting on the call. So it was very
Yeah.
stressful, very
And how did
stressful.
you handle that stress besides working out? What were your other go-tos to be able to kind of handle that stress, kind of keep your mind focused on the ultimate goal and not, giving up?
Um, I just did a lot of hobbies, man. Trying to come up with hobbies, trying to stay busy, keep my mind busy, not to think so
Yeah.
much about it. But other than that, that was pretty much it. Cause it was literally, I went and got like a little summer job. It was literally work,
Yeah.
basketball, home
Yeah.
every day. So,
And when did you finally get that call that you're gonna go overseas?
it's funny because I had a couple calls. I had a call in
Okay.
August, but it ended up it didn't fall through. So I had to go back to the drawing board. And I got another call in like September. It fell through. And then finally I got something like the week before Thanksgiving. So I ended up leaving like a week before Thanksgiving, and that one stuck, and it's been
Yeah.
good ever since.
And I'm glad you
So
mentioned those first two because I have guys that
yeah,
have, talked to, overseas, scouts and things. In that first call, they think it's it. They think they're going, they're told everybody. And then when it falls through,
yeah,
now they're still at home right now. They don't even go for another call. You know,
yeah. It's hard to explain. Yeah, it's hard. It gets hard to explain it because you were so excited, and then it's like it don't happen, and you like, man, like I'm back to
yeah.
square one.
But those no's,
So
ultimately with your process, I think that's why the JUCO route is such a blessing in a way because it kind of teaches you
exactly,
to be ready for that. Nothing's gonna come easy for
exactly.
you. A no is just a no. You know,
Exactly.
when you have it too laid out for you, sometimes you do get in that mindset of you're used to being told yes, and so that very first no is like, well, damn,
Exactly.
I must suck. I must be bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is it. So
Exactly.
let me just go do something
Exactly.
else. So your resilience is part of thing of your upbringing. It's part of your game too. That never stay down
Yeah.
mentality. So can you kind of
Right.
tell us, tell the younger
Right.
guys kind of what your mindset is like when you're looking at a goal. Like, what is your mindset as far as trying to achieve that goal, and what do no's really mean to you?
I mean, a no is like to me it's just a learning process. Like it's a no now, but the next time it
Yeah,
might be a yes. So like I just prepare myself for like, okay, cool. Like it's just like in life. If something happened and you really wanted something, they say no, now you know what you
yeah,
need to do for it to be a yes. So I look at no's as kind of like as a learning tool to like prepare myself for when
yeah.
it is a yes. So
So yeah, so let's talk about your overseas experience. So it's clearly
mhm.
going amazing. I see the posts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as of
it's
right
going
now.
amazing for you.
Yeah.
Kind of, tell me a little bit about that. Like, how's your season going? Like, what's that experience like? How do they treat you over there? Like, what is that like?
Everything's been good, man, for the most part overseas for me. It's everything's been like amazing, no complaints. Um Basketball is like, like depending on the country you go to,
Yeah,
everywhere is different. So like every country is has its own rules and like different ways and styles of playing. So like it's like in a little adjustment period, but I kind of try to do a little research before I get there to kind of see like the style of
yeah,
how they play, just so that I know like what I need to work on in the summertime. But man, it's been amazing, bro. I have no complaints. I'm getting to see
yeah,
the world on not my dollar, on
yeah,
somebody else's dollar. So I
yeah.
have no complaints. So
So when do you leave to go back? This will be which year will this be for you? Your fifth year?
it's a be year
Your sixth?
six. Year six for me.
When
Year
would you
six.
leave to go back?
Headed to Poland. I'll leave August
Okay.
11th or August 10th. One of them. So
And
I don't
depending
have
on the
that.
league, this is year round for you, right? Like, this is the only break you really get is
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. The summertime. Yeah. You get like a 2 month break, but for the most part, basketball season long. It's August to May,
Yeah.
August to June. So it's a long season.
So tell us about your recovery process then. With this long season, I know of course you have more resources to recover, but kind of walk
Right.
me through like what
Right.
you do to recover your body, to allow you to last, this whole year until the summer
Mm.
break.
Man, really rest, man. A lot of people don't realize how big
Yeah.
sleep is. Like sleep plays a big part in recovery. Like, of course, you got like ice baths and people get the boots and the recovery boots and shoes and everything, but a lot of the times just going to sleep plays a big part. Like you can't stay out
Yeah.
all night and then try to get up early in the morning, and like you have to really like
Yeah.
relax. So I my first thing is sleeping. Like you have to go to sleep. Like can't stay
Yeah.
up all night.
And that's what most of
So
them do. A lot of them are up late.
yeah, you want to like I got to tell my brother you want to stay up all night and then get 3 hours of sleep and wondering why your
Yes.
hamstrings tight. You've been up all night, all day. You never have
Yeah.
have any sleep.
Yeah, that's
So
huge. And to backtrack just a little bit, when you said about not staying up all night, to backtrack just a little bit, can you kind of tell the high school players that are about to be in college, and even the college players that may go to like a JUCO or may go to a smaller school that don't really feel like the next level is even achievable. They're kind of trying to enjoy their college experience, so they're partying.
right,
Can you kind of walk them through like how important it is to kind of treat yourself like a professional athlete as far as your schedule, sleep schedule, stuff like that?
right. If I had to say it in words, however much love you put in basketball is how much basketball gonna
Yeah,
give back to you. So like, if you don't take it serious, it's basketball won't be
yeah,
serious for you. But like, I feel like if you set a goal and you really serious about that goal, like, I feel like anything's achievable,
yeah,
and I've seen it and I've done it. So like, like I just feel like you got to really like be locked in with basketball. And like I said, however much work and time and effort you put into basketball is what
yeah,
you get out of it. So I think that's the biggest thing. Biggest thing. Like, I'm not saying like not to enjoy life and be out and hang out with friends, but when it's time for business, you got to
yeah.
handle business basketball wise.
Absolutely. There has to be a balance. And the thing I
Exactly,
think about
exactly.
a professional athlete is that work-life balance with any profession. I mean, if you think about any profession to where you have to have an expertise to a certain extent to be at the top of this
Right.
profession, there is going to be a little bit of offness to that work-life balance. It's not going to be perfect, and
Exactly.
you won't have more of a social life than you will a work life because you are expert in that
Right.
field or you are trying to be one of the most skilled in that field. So, like you said,
Right.
not to eliminate that fun aspect, but you have to realize it's not going to be completely balanced. And I think a lot of kids
Exactly.
and parents, us as parents, we want our kids to enjoy high school and junior high and all these things. But we have to realize we're part of setting that goal. If the goal is to go as far as you can,
Exactly.
some stuff has to be sacrificed, you know. So instead of going
Exactly.
to McDonald's at 10, you may have to be home at 8:30, 9 o'clock so you can get ready to be up at 4 or 5 to put in work before school.
Exactly.
So, I'm glad you
Exactly.
said that piece, the love of the game part. That's going to be something that I think a lot of kids need to hear is it is what you put into it. What I'm saying? If you love the game will love you back. If you disrespect
Right.
the game won't show you no respect at all. And a
Exactly.
lot of them disrespect
Exactly.
themselves, in the game by what they don't put into it.
Right.
So, all right. So season
Right.
6, what are your goals for this coming season?
Man, where do I start? Man, I want to
Yeah.
win. Like, I want to win. I want to win a trophy. I want to win a
Yeah.
championship. That's on my goal. All country. I want to be on all the team. I want all the awards I
Yeah.
can win. Everything. I
Yeah.
want everything. Any award that's possible winning,
Yeah.
I'm going after. And I feel like everybody should feel that way if you play a sport. Like,
Yeah.
why not?
I mean, that's what you work for.
So
What I'm saying? That's what
exactly,
you I mean,
exactly,
of course, it's
exactly.
good to be able to say
So
that you're being able to, make money by doing what you love, but
mm,
ultimately, whatever you're doing, you want to be the best at it. Like, and
exactly,
it's
exactly.
just human nature. It's competitiveness. We want to know that, hey, I'm good. Like, put in this work.
Right,
I'm good at
right.
what I do. Like, I want a trophy. I want everything to show. I want to put it on my wall. I want to show that I'm good. So that means that's legitimate, you
Exactly,
know. So do you think that
exactly.
the team that you have, do you know what your team is going to look like, or do you not know all the different recruits and scouts that are going to be coming in for this next year?
So as of right now, they're still putting pieces together. I know we just signed another American point guard,
Okay.
pretty good. He played in Sweden. I also played in Sweden as well. So I'm just waiting to see what all happens until August, and then we'll know in August when everybody gets there what's really going
Okay.
on. So
So are you taking on kind of that leadership role with the team? Yeah.
yeah, of course, of course. I feel like yeah, of course. I feel like everybody plays a leadership part
Yeah.
in some aspect. You know, I feel like everybody should be able to be a leader in some aspect. It might not be the most vocal, or sometimes you just gotta be a leader on the floor without saying anything. So
Yeah.
most definitely.
And I'm glad you. I want to ask you, how do you feel? Did you hear about LeBron's comments on trophy chasing? How they're saying that people are ring
Hmm.
chasing. What do you think about
Hmm.
those comments? 'Cause, clearly for a good part of his career, he was definitely ring chasing, which I think every
Right.
player in the NBA that is elite won't tell you that they want to win a championship. That's the goal,
Exactly.
and that's why coaches get
Yeah.
fired. That's why ownership changes. That's why things shift because the ultimate goal is to bring championships to that city. So, what do you think about his
Right.
comments? Like, do you think that's just him trying to ease his way out the NBA, or what?
I don't know, man. It's
Yeah,
tricky. It's tricky because like for a long time, like the best players they were based off like if you
yeah,
could win or not. Like we've seen great NBA players come through like that don't
yeah,
have rings, that
yeah,
should have rings. Like Melo should have a
absolutely.
ring. But like without a ring, in the culture and time as the NBA's been going, like it's slowly changing. But if you didn't have a ring, it didn't
Yeah,
solidify you. So like I understand both parts, but I also understand like if I want to be the best and this is the criteria that y'all telling me that I have to do
yeah,
to be the best, then you know.
yeah, yeah.
So
It does kind of feel like he's kind of changing the narrative. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
exactly,
For years,
exactly,
it's like this is
exactly,
what the standard is, and
exactly,
now that I haven't met that standard, let me change it.
exactly,
Because I mean, because truly,
exactly.
he's the best player in the league right now. It has been for a while.
Yeah,
So to not have as
exactly.
many championships as Michael Jordan, or so like that. So
Hmm.
I feel like he's kind of like feeling that pressure of, dang, now I done came to LA and I'm
Hmm.
still not getting to that level. So
Exactly,
now it's like, well, let me shift the
exactly,
conversation a little bit. Let me make it to where, hey,
exactly,
if they stop ring chasing, they'll stop expecting me to ring chase. You know? But this
exactly,
new generation, I feel
exactly.
like he's kind of responsible for the way that they shifted as well, as far as jumping from team to team. Because now it's like, well, if I don't win here, I'm not the problem. So let me go over here and win. So I mean, I think he's
Exactly.
kind of created the monster on both ends. Like he ring chased, then he
Exactly.
jumped, and now he's like, well, now I don't want no more. So
Yeah. It's a monkey see,
yeah,
monkey do world, One person do it, everybody
exactly.
start doing it.
And it's
So
hurting. I think it's hurting the kids ultimately because
yeah,
all of them are transferring all over the place. And they,
yeah. Everybody's trying to team up and play with certain people, so it kind of takes the competitive
yeah,
edge out of it. Like it doesn't because now it's like to a point where if I can't beat you, I'm gonna just go and play with you, or I'm gonna go play with another team so I can try to beat you. Instead of it just being you and like if you win, you won on the team
yeah.
that you was on. But like it's a different time, man. You know?
So do you think that makes it harder for these kids, or you think it's making it easier for them?
I think it's harder and easy at
Yeah,
the same time because I feel like if it's a kid that played on a team and he was the best player on his team his whole high school career, it gets a little harder when he go to college and now it's people that's the
yeah,
same as you. So like a lot of kids have a hard time adjusting to trying to play with people that's just as good or
right,
better than them. So but then in high school, if you go and play with somebody that's already better than you and you kind of used to playing with people, it's a little easier. So it's like it just depends on what you're
yeah,
going for, you know?
yeah.
So
I definitely can see, it being like you said, both ends of the spectrum. And even on the
right.
mental side of it, when you think about if I'm teaming up in high school with the best of the best, and I kind of cruise my way through high school, we're winning, but I'm not the best player on that team. I have elite players all around me.
Exactly.
I'm kind of getting overlooked when it comes to now what's my next step. If
Exactly.
it's time to go to college,
Exactly.
while they're getting Duke, Alabama, Kentucky, I'm stuck getting
Mhm.
the scraps in a sense. Because it's
Exactly.
like, well, they're
Exactly.
not coming to look for me. They're coming to look for all these people around me. I'm just getting the trophy at the end of the season,
Exactly.
and that's really all I wanted was a trophy. but I didn't set myself up to go any
Right.
further. So I think,
Exactly.
on that aspect, it kind of hurts a lot of these kids because they don't really have necessarily the talent or the skill set to go to these bigger programs, but they're surrounding themselves with people who do. So it kind of hurts them on
Exactly.
the back end of it. So I can
Right.
definitely see, it being a benefit. And then for the kids, of course, who do have the talent, you're rocketing yourself out there
Yeah.
in front of every coach every single week because you got this stacked team. So, it's
Right.
like the rich get richer
It's
and the
yeah.
poor stay poor because yeah,
It's it's
yeah.
tricky. It's
And
tricky.
it's going to, with NILs, it's going to get a little bit more tricky, year by year. So,
Exactly.
what would your advice be, knowing, because even your route now is a little different for the kids who are coming up behind you because of NILs. So now, whereas
Right.
you went to a JUCO to grind it out to get to your next level, you have kids that have, say, a CSU offer, but they're like, you know what? I'm not going to take that CSU offer. I'm going to go to a JUCO so that I can keep my eligibility and then go to a 4 year later on. Like, what would your advice be for
Right.
those kids who are now getting pushed even further to the back because you have those kind of moves because of NILs?
I think situation plays a big part. I think if it's a coach that if it's a coach that really likes you and that you're gonna play, I wouldn't give up that opportunity trying to wait for
Yeah,
something else. Because you can give up a good opportunity that you have that could possibly help you to make your next step, but you're thinking that, oh no, it's too small of a
yeah,
school and I just wait. And then sometimes you try to wait and then you wait and nothing ever
yeah,
happens. And that's it. So sometimes like you have to sacrifice, all right, I might not be in a big program now, but if I go here and do what I'm supposed to do, the next year I can be in a
yeah.
big program. So, I think everything shouldn't be money driven.
Right,
Like it's either do you want it your fortunes on the front end or do you want to get it for the
right.
long run? And I think a lot of kids kind of go and they take the money now and then in the long run it's kind of like, man, if I would have did this, this, and this, I would have made twice as much more money. So I think that plays a big part.
Absolutely. Yeah, they, and I look at, the situation where you have to think about, I think with parents as well, we have to really take an honest look at where we really project ourselves going. How far do we want
Right.
to go? But then how far do we really see ourselves being able to go? Like, how confident are we that we're really going to make it to
Exactly.
the NBA? Or, you know what? I
Right.
want to keep playing basketball. So therefore, overseas is a legitimate route that I'm interested in going. What's going to be the best course of path to get me there? And it's not
Right.
always the bigger program because you can look at programs right now
Exactly.
where kids go to these bigger programs, they sit on the bench for 3 years, they play their senior year, but then they don't go anywhere after that. No league.
That's it.
So, and
That's
in
it.
your path, like CSU is a very small community type
Very.
based school. Like it's a D2 school, very competitive, but everybody on that campus is gonna see each other at least 4 or 5 times a week. You know what I'm saying?
For
Like
sure.
it's a very small
For sure.
school. When you go to the games, you sit. I remember I was there in 2012. I did work with the intramural team and stuff like that back then. So coming back to the campus, it had grown a lot. Like what you guys saw
Yeah.
to me was like, good Lord, like, it's like a D1 school over here. But for you guys, it was still pretty small. And you see everybody that walks in that
Yeah.
gym. While you're playing, it's a small enough school, big gym, huge gym, but you know who's coming to those
Yeah.
games. And so you get to see it's a family type
Exactly.
thing. But look how far you're making versus, like you
Exactly.
said, chasing the money
Exactly.
or chasing the names, and then you fall short of your ultimate goal, which is to make it.
Right.
Because college is going to end, high school is going to end, but how long do you want to dribble the ball? You know, and I think
Exactly.
that's the ultimate decision
Exactly.
that kids have to make. Is it's not about the right now. It's not about let me get to the biggest name school. It's about how long do I want to continue playing and what's going to be the best coach
Right.
to get me there. Because it is about relationships too. Your coach
Exactly.
has to believe in you, even if it's not to get you to the next level. Because some coaches don't have those overseas connections, but is he going to
Right.
put you on the floor? Is he believing in you enough to help give you the film and the stuff that you need to even get to those overseas scouts? That's important. So,
Exactly. That-
I definitely appreciate your words.
Exactly.
What would you say, Zay, to 14-year-old you? Of course, I know that your parents, like you said, were college athletes, so I'm sure they talk to you a little bit differently than most parents talk to their, athlete. But what would you say to your 14-year-old self if you could change anything that you did back then? What would you say to that teenager?
I would say take the weight room more
Yeah,
serious. I think that would be my biggest thing because with my game, I feel like if I would have been a lot stronger, my game would have evolved a
yeah,
lot faster than it did. So I would say just being in the weight room and taking it serious because basketball was never the issue. I always was in the gym. It was just I just hated
yeah,
being in the weight room. I didn't like
yeah.
being sore. Like and I don't just like any kid, I don't think any kid likes
Right.
being sore, but I think if I would have been in a weight room and I would have attacked it hard from 14 up, I would have been farther along than what
Yeah.
I am now.
I'm
So
glad you're saying that. I'm glad. I hope every kid that watches, because a lot of kids watch, especially when I have athletes on. So I definitely hope that they hear that part. That's important. Weight room, what you're putting into your body, the nutrition side of it. Um, and taking it seriously earlier. Taking that weight room serious
yeah,
earlier is going
definitely.
to help a lot of these kids, especially the smaller kids. That aren't going to be. Because
Exactly.
you got blessed. Like you say, you became 6'2", and now you're 6'4". So you got blessed with that.
Yeah.
But for those kids who
Yeah.
may tap out at 5'10", the weight room, your nutrition, and your overall training regimen is going to play a huge part on how far you go.
Exactly.
Appreciate it. So, what can we
Exactly.
look forward to? You got your season coming up, season 6 coming up. You have anything else going on that you want to talk about?
Nah, man, that's pretty much it, man. Preparing for the season. I'm trying to keep moving up in leagues. Keep playing. I'm trying to keep the ball bouncing as
Yeah,
long as I can. God's willing. No injuries or anything. So that's the biggest thing I
yeah.
got going
So,
right
is the
now.
NBA still a goal for you?
I
Yeah,
mean, of course, but like, um, if not, I'm just trying to make it to the highest league I can possibly get to. Like I want to when I get done playing basketball, I want to be able to say like it might not didn't happen, but I
yeah,
did what I could, and I enjoyed the ride
yeah,
that I had, and I worked to the highest possible level that I can get to while
yeah,
I was playing. So when I get done with basketball, as long as I can say that,
yeah.
I'm fine.
How long you?
Because some people like like they're not they're not they're not real with themselves about
Yeah,
the NBA, if that makes sense. Like they don't realize how good
yeah,
these people are and how tall and how athletic and how much that they take this
yeah,
very, very serious. And I don't think a lot of kids realize like how hard it is to make it
yeah,
to the NBA. So yeah, that's my thing. When I get done playing, whatever, if I just want to be able to say I did what I could to get as
yeah.
far as I got. So
That's a good way. That's a good way to look at it. And I
exactly,
do hope that they
exactly.
understand just how, like you said, big, tall, talented,
Yeah,
skilled these NBA players are. They see the
yeah,
Instagram photos,
yeah.
but they don't see the amount of time that these guys
It's different.
put in.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
it's
gonna be a
different.
reality check for a lot of people, but I definitely hope that your words can at least get at least one freshman to get up and say, you know what, let me go a little bit harder. Let me not wait till my junior year.
Most
Let me go
definitely,
ahead and go hard now. Um, if one person can do that, then I think we are successful at passing it forward. But
Most
I definitely
definitely.
appreciate you, Zay.
Most
You know,
definitely.
like I said, I've always enjoyed watching you. I
Right.
appreciate the respect that you have for the game, and and I'm enjoying watching you on social media do your thing. This will be the year that you go ahead and get that championship. So go ahead and claim that.
Hey, I need it. I need that.
Yeah.
I need that.
All right, man. I definitely appreciate you coming on with me, and I'll be in touch with you. Let me know if you need anything. All right.
Most definitely.
All right.
I got you.
All right.